Hey guys, Pastor P here. Hope you're doing well today as we jump in to Luke chapter 19. In Luke chapter 19, we're introduced to a gentleman named Zacchaeus. And I remember from back in Sunday school, we would sing that little song about Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. And it tells a story about this tax collector and it tells about how he was short. And so he had to climb up in a tree because Jesus was coming. For to Jesus he wanted to see. Let's look at Luke 19. It says, Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through, and a man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was. But because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. He was determined. And so he ran ahead and he climbed a sycamore tree to see Jesus. And since Jesus was coming that way, was coming his way, when Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and he said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and he welcomed him gladly. And all the people saw this. You know how people are going to talk. People are going to talk. People are going to talk. And they began to mutter, he is going to be the guest of a sinner. And it says, but Zacchaeus stood up and he said to the Lord, look, Lord, here and now. I mean, what a change. Here and now, I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times that amount. And Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. This man too is a son of Abraham. You know, Zacchaeus' name, his very name, meant pure and innocent one. Whoa, how did he get from pure and innocent one, being named by his parents? Because remember, we've already talked about how at that time, your purpose, your destiny was spoken over to you by your name. And so he was named Zacchaeus, pure and innocent one. Okay? And so many years have passed. And here is Zacchaeus as the chief tax collector. Okay? So folks weren't happy about Zacchaeus. Folks weren't happy about turning over their taxes to him. They weren't happy about that. And so I would imagine that he was someone who was disliked, someone who was scorned, someone who maybe even because of his stature being short, that perhaps people would look down on him and just really couldn't stand him. And so here, I mean, they called him a sinner. So they must have seen something in him or thought or perceived something because of his role, his title, his place in life or in that culture. And so they labeled him. People are going to label you all kinds of things, but they don't get it. They don't know what's in the heart. Zacchaeus was like, Jesus is coming my way and I'm going to see him. I'm not going to let a little thing like how tall I am get in the way of seeing Jesus. I have heard about what he's done. I've listened as people came and paid their taxes, and they've talked about him and his healing and his deliverance and his salvation, and I'm going to see who he is. And he climbed up this tree just to see him. But here's the kicker. Maybe perhaps in that day he wasn't seen by many until Jesus saw him. Okay? Jesus saw him hiding up in that tree or climbing up in that tree. Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. Why? Because Jesus reads the heart. Okay? A whole lot different than people. And we've given this whole story of David when he was anointed to be king. You know, everybody else looking on the outside. But God looks at the inside. That's why it's so important to have the inside in order. Where the kingdom of God resides, have that in order. And because when Jesus turns to look, that catches his eye. Zacchaeus, I'm going to your house today. We're going to hang out together. And he came down at once and welcomed Jesus gladly. And I love that, because there again, people are going to say what people are going to say. People are going to talk about you. They probably already are. My mom used to say, baby, Let them talk. That means they're giving somebody else a rest. Today, somebody else is getting a break because they're picking on you. They're talking about you. And so that's one way to look at it. Other people were getting a break that day because now everybody's focused on Zacchaeus. Ooh, he's going to have Jesus. Jesus going to his house, y'all. Wonder what he's going to serve. What's it look like? Was it clean? You know, the way that people do, I don't know. The way that people do, and they make up all kinds of stuff that aren't so. Zacchaeus just wanted to see Jesus because he heard he was coming that way. And Jesus saw Zacchaeus. He saw the pure and innocent one. He saw his heart. And he went in and they hung out together. Jesus said to him, today, salvation has come to his house. And because he felt seen, okay, he gave back what wasn't his. Because he felt seen, it was time to clean up, okay? It was time to clean up and clean out what didn't belong in this house. Because he felt seen. Now, I love this particular verse, and I draw on it often. In Luke 19:10, it says that the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. Other translations, and to look at the root words and the phrases that were there, that to look at, do your word work and break it down. The scripture says, Jesus came to seek and to save what was lost. Not the who, what was lost. Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost. Okay, that's what the King James and Amplified version say. Okay? And the Message version says that he came to find and to restore the lost. Came to seek and to save what was lost. If you've lost your joy, if you've lost your peace, if you've lost your evidently standing in the community as Zacchaeus had, if you had lost your mind, if you had lost the things that you held dear, you got so focused on the past. When I say lost your mind, lost your presence. And all you're focused on is what other people think and what other people say and the news of the day and the things of the past. And you're allowing the past to continue to drive your present. And you're so worried about the future that you can't even stay focused on today. You can't even be present for today because you're so worried about what's going to come, or you're so worried about what the neighbor's doing, or you're so worried about what this one's doing and what that one's doing. Okay? And you've lost something along the way. Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost. Jesus came to seek and to save. I mean, look at what happened to Zacchaeus. He had a lot of things that maybe didn't belong to him. Okay, maybe used his position. I'm just reading into this. You do the word work and you teach it. You teach how you want. But what I'm reading into this is that he took a lot about what wasn't his. It's time to return what didn't belong to him. And you know, here's the kicker. When you return what doesn't belong to you, okay, when you return, we take all this stuff on, we build these scenarios in our mind of things that just weren't there. We get these wrong perceptions, we get these attitudes, we get all this stuff, we carry this weight in and out of every day, all this baggage of woulda, coulda, shouldas. When we return that, when we give that back, okay, to the source wherever it came from, send it back to the hell it came from, we make room for the things that God has for us. A lot of times we can't receive, we can't even create a landing strip for the things that God has for us because our hands, our heart, our mind, our bodies are so full of other people's stuff or other things that people have said about us, of other things that people have done or should have done or Jesus came to seek and to save what was lost. Zacchaeus' home was restored that day by hanging out with Jesus, by doing more than just seeing him, by allowing himself to be seen. Okay? Jesus came to seek and to save what was lost. And I put that out to you today. Yeah, there's more. I have more notes, but I don't want to go there until we cover this part. because this is such a turning point. It's a turning point in our Lenten season. It's a turning point in our life. It can be a turning point in everything you've ever done, been with, anything before. If you've lost your joy, if you've lost your peace, if you've lost your goodness, your kindness, okay? Jesus came to seek and to save what was lost. Zacchaeus made a huge gain that day by spending time with Christ. Jesus said, come down. I'm staying in your house today. It didn't matter what that house looked like. Come on. It didn't matter what was going on inside that house. Zacchaeus came down at once. Zacchaeus came down at once and welcomed him gladly. I encourage you to welcome Christ gladly into the home that is you. Okay, into your mind, into your body, into your past, into your present, into your things about the future. Bring all that stuff together, that Christ might come in and bring joy back, bring peace back, bring love back, bring goodness and kindness back. Share a meal with him. Like that. Came in, so they probably shared a meal. They had sweetness of fellowship together. Just talking. I encourage you today to be about that. Be like Zacchaeus. Welcome him into your home gladly. Know today I love you. We're just going to leave it right there. I encourage you to read the rest of the chapter. We're going to visit parts of it again real soon on Palm Sunday, but I invite you to read all the way through it. But read that part about Zacchaeus again. His purity, his innocence was restored when he got rid of those things that didn't belong to him and took on everything that did. And salvation came to his house that day. May salvation come to your house this day. I love you. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you tomorrow.